Jewish American Jewish culture is so geared towards the cerebral and the intellectual that I think, frankly, that guys grow up spending way too much time thinking, and so they never realize things that there's a lot they miss.
Okay, the ArtScroll commentary on Jacob's system for multiplying his flock. When the female animals would see the rods in their watering troughs, they would become startled and recoil backwards. At that moment, the males would mount them, and they would later give birth to lambs having the same markings as the rod they were facing. It's according to Rashi. Then Rabbi Bachya observes that this concept contains an important lesson. If imagination is a determining factor in the nature of unborn lambs, as this verse indicates, then how much more important will it be when sensitive thinking human beings procreate? Therefore, when husband and wife unite, they must purge their minds of all impure thoughts and every element which is foreign or which concerns third parties. The degree of their moral and spiritual purity will affect the souls of their children.
Good luck. I just think that's a crock. I remember
Just
reading...
imagine like purging your mind of all impure thoughts before, like how would it would then become impossible for a man to perform?
It would also become... Okay, I remember reading Letters to a Young Poet by Rilke, which I loved, but one letter I just was like, oh my god, was sex advice to this guy. And it was like that. It was like, don't let go of your own ego, and you just be one, commune with the woman. And I was like, have you got to be kidding me? Like that's like, you gotta, if you care about it, you gotta bring it. And like, if you gotta bring it, you gotta pay attention to what you're doing, and you gotta, you really gotta nail it. And like, and I mean, kinda. So it's like that. That's not. That's to me that just seems like terrible advice. It's like BS. It's like, what are they saying? You gotta make love. You gotta make love.
Purge their minds of all impure thoughts.
Baby, I love you. Like, I mean, there's some truth. I don't know. Mostly, I think that's bad advice. I think it doesn't make. It's just not. What does that even mean? What does that mean to you? What would that be like? Purging your mind of all impure thoughts.
Well, it's just like the Pope said, the Holy Father, that a man should not look upon his wife with lust.
Crazy. I think that's almost mad. Mad. A man shouldn't look upon his own wife with lust. What is he trying to do? Like other men are going to check out your own wife with lust, and that's it's good to remember that. And,
if you're lucky.
And yeah, and so that's what they do in the Mediterranean. Yeah, my wife, no, she's not for that. But that's what the other ones are for. They're great. I do things with them I can't do with my wife, because my wife, she's not like that. It's like, well, she's not like that with you, maybe, but like with others, like, I mean, it's just.
Well, it's like the Robert De Niro character in what was that movie? And he said that those are the lips that kiss my children.
Yeah.
What was that movie? It was like the mafia take off Robert De Niro.
Was it Casino?
Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal.
Analyze that.
Analyze this
or that. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And his therapist asked him, "Why don't you receive blowjobs from your wife?" And he says, "Those are the lips that kiss my children."
Right. Well, and you would want your but you want your children to be complete human beings the same way you've got to let your wife be a complete human being, and your wife needs to skank it up sometimes, and that's not bad, right? I mean, to me, it's just like this is what men do to women. Like, we try to fit them into, like, well, you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that. Like, no, they gotta be Rachel and Leah. They gotta be the virgin and the whore. They gotta skank it up, and they gotta be tender and solicitous. Like, and you gotta let them have room to do all that.
After 20 years of labor in Haran, Yaakov left with his family to return to Eretz Yisrael. The decision was precipitated by the clear perception that Laban's family was resentful of Jacob's success. Like Pharaoh and Abimelech before them and countless others since, they were convinced that the Jew was an interloper, that whatever he achieved was at their expense. In a prophecy, God instructed Jacob to leave, and with sensitive concern for their feelings, the patriarch informed his wives and sought their consent, which they gave wholeheartedly. think there's something to that. I mean, often the Jew is seen as an interloper, and whatever he achieves is at their expense. I mean,
Right.
That is a very typical canard used against the Jews and used against middlemen and capitalists in general.
Right. Well, canard is a strong word. I mean, it's not. A canard, I imagine, I think of as something that's totally fabricated. That was our niche. I mean, there's no reason to be ashamed of it. In Europe, we were.
Well, it's a canard that this is that whatever the Jew achieves was at their expense. I mean, the middleman has a role to play that's every bit as honorable as anyone else in the economic cycle.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a canard that the Jews are the interloper, and that whatever he achieves is
at the expense of the host population. Yeah.
As Jeffrey, is it Jeffrey McDonald?
Oh no, Kevin McDonald.
Kevin McDonald. I think Jeffrey McDonald was a murderer. So.
The McDonald, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think. Look, you can understand. Yes, that's a very common. All through Jewish history, if you look in Poland, the Khmelnytsky revolt.
Khmelnytsky pogroms.
Khmelnytsky. So Khmelnytsky, the pogrom, which is a black event in Jewish history, but for Poles and Ukrainians, it didn't really have anything to do with Jews. It was about asserting the rights of the peasants, and it was because they thought, well, these guys are cutting in on action, and it wasn't just Jews. It was just you can see how they feel that way because they feel like, well, we're the producers, and these guys just come in and they're not serving a necessary. I mean, it's not right. It's not wrong either. It
is wrong.
Well, killing people is wrong. The Khmelnytsky pogrom was wrong, but he's
soft on the Khmelnytsky pogroms.
I'm not.
He voted for Obama.
I'm anti-killing. I think it's not a good means of conflict resolution. But but Khmelnytsky, it's not surprising to me that he is a hero to people from that area, because.
But you can't grow a country and you can't grow an economy without middlemen and capitalists. So it was a delusion to think that the middleman was like taking money at the expense of the peasants. The middleman was playing a role in the economy that was every bit as valuable as the peasants.
But it's also a delusion to imagine that you can be the middleman and play the middleman role without incurring resentment from people.
Depends what sort of society. Like in America, we don't resent people for playing a middleman role because we're at a very high level and we don't resent people for their success and for playing their role. We just want some for ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
We don't go commit pogroms on people who play a middleman role.
I agree that is a
It's like we have a whole different ethos.
Yes.
While in Australia you have like the cut down the tall poppy syndrome where you tend to resent people who succeed.
Right, just like in Ireland they call it begrudgery, like whoever, he thinks he's too good. Yeah.
Well, we don't have that.
We don't have that here. No, and I prefer this way.
Laban set out to pursue Yaakov, and he intended to kill Yaakov. For the Gentile nations, God reckons evil intentions as if they had carried them out, because their general performance justifies the assumption they would have done so if they had the opportunity. That's a bit rough. I mean, because I'm sure the Jews have just as many evil intentions as the Goyim.
Yeah, apparently, agreed. And apparently here I really dislike that. I think that's really prominent in Jewish thought. That they'd kill us if they had a chance.
Right. I mean, I'll admit it. There have been people that I wish dead.
Yeah.
And that I've even fantasized about killing.
Right.
And so, I mean, don't treat me like a goy here and reckon that to my moral bank account because I didn't do it.
Right. And those feelings are inevitable.
Yeah, of rage, yeah.
Right.
Particularly when you blog.
Right. But yeah, I mean, like but I don't know. It just seems like crap because everyone has those kinds of feelings. They can't be escaped altogether. And it's not true. Gentiles most of the time are not thinking about Jews in the first place. And meanwhile Jews are thinking, they had to have a chance. They'd take us to the chambers.
Well, the Gentiles do. Who's the most downloaded woman in the world? That's Cindy something.
Oh, right.
Cindy.
Right. I don't know her name, but
so
I know.
The guy I'm definitely thinking about that Jew.
Yeah.
Probably with some wicked thoughts too.
But yes, but that's got nothing to do with the fact that she's Jewish. Just
you
the way.
Think so?
No, just the same way that